Where's my thing? Okay, I'm jumping back on the streaming. I'm just gonna make sure that my stream is going. Hopefully my... Okay, I should be streaming. Stop streaming. Let's see here. All right, if you are seeing me, feel free to say hi in the chat. And also, I am gonna try to get my, just double check that my live stream is going. Okay. Thanks for everybody who had waited out while I restarted. Um, okay. Hey, David. Okay, the stream seems good now. Okay, cool. David, yeah, if you're there, yeah, let me know how the stream is right now. Just because I had a problem, so I disconnected and then I reconnected. So I'm trying. Okay, it's fine. Okay, good, 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 good. Okay, well, apparently I had like a really crappy stream or something before and I didn't realize that it was freezing. So that is crazy. Oh, Sharon, thanks for hanging on. Okay. I'm gonna just dig into the what I was working on now, getting that cut like those tips for making your own color palettes from images, which David, you're really good at this too. I know you some of the color palettes that you've sent me were amazing and you really get the idea. So I love that. But these were some of the tips that I was going. And yeah, oh my gosh, Sharon, I'm so happy. It's so crazy sometimes, like that you don't realize like things are frozen and then you're just going on, and people are probably like, this is really annoying, and don't really want to watch you stream, if it's like a crappy quality. So that's good to know. Okay, so what I did, just to recap, in case you guys, if there's anybody new here, I'm making my multicolor color palette, sampling colors directly from images. But what I was wanting to show now is like some tips of what I do if it's not like a perfect, say the colors that I want to include in my image are not a perfect square image. So what I did was I took the lasso tool and I, selected the whole color area that I wanted, and then I pasted it over here. And then I used my edit transform and I used my warp to just warp that to fill the whole image and everything. So now I've got my base sort of thing. And then the next tip that I wanted to do was to look for any kind of inconsistencies or color spots that you might not want to show up. Like, for example, in this section, there was these dark spots that I sampled from, and they show up here. And it might not look like much now, but when you're painting a multicolor brush stroke, and then and so all those colors will come out. You could have like some dark, it can make your brush stroke look a bit muddy, so we really don't want that. And yeah, so that's that. And then I'm just gonna go, so how I got rid of those is I was just using the spot healing brush tool. And so even like here, there's some, if we're being really picky here, let's just zoom in a little bit. There could be some, sorry, the spot healing brush tool. There could be some areas that's like a little bit gray. Maybe we'll want to get rid of that. We want these like really vibrant colors. So I'm looking for any spots that are like just not so nice. The gray in that one is okay. So I love just using that spot healing brush tool. I think it's really cool. And just kind of, any areas or any little color spots that I think would be problematic, I kind of just take them out. So anyway, more or less that's good. Now, one of the things that I will like to do is if the colors, like this is a picture, a photograph. So sometimes it can kind of dull down the colors. So one of the first things that I do if I'm creating this color palette from an image is I will put a new curves layer. And in this case, let's see here, let me reset this. Reset. So I go to my adjustment, I put an adjustment layer. So if you can, if you don't have your window, you can go to like window adjustments and then just add a curves layer here. So add the curves layer. I'm going to double click on that and then click auto. And now it's kind of intensified those colors a bit more. And, you know, and you can play around it and adjust, but it's nice because a lot of my brushes are specially designed to softly blend the colors, and so you kind of might miss some of that color intensity. So that's why I like to use this kind of some adjustment layers to just pump up some of the colors from the images that I've sampled. So that's cool. So I've done that. And so I'm happy with that. And sometimes I might even add adjustment layer, a hue and saturation adjustment layer, and maybe take the saturation up like 5 points or something. And it just kind of brings some of that saturation in and can look really nice. So you can also add a levels one, which pretty much does the same thing as the curves, or you can use the brightness, contrast, you know, play around with it, whatever. But for example, I'm just going to show you a little example of what the difference it can make. So I'm going to go to edit, define pattern, and that's going to adjust this whole document. I don't have a selection made, so it's going to adjust the whole document as my color palette, and I'm going to call this one vivid. And then I can turn off those adjustment layers, okay? And then let's do the same thing, edit, define pattern, and I'm gonna put original. Okay, so we'll see the difference when we make some brush strokes. And you'll kind of see that it's a little bit nice to do those little touches. And let's see here. One thing that I will show you is if you want to make, use this document, define it as a color palette. If your layer is selected, that's an adjustment layer. If I go to Command M, it will not work to define it as a pattern. Or if I go up here and I go to edit, what is it? Edit, and then define pattern is going to be grayed out. You have to be on a pixel layer, or even you can have an empty layer at the top. You cannot be highlighting an adjustment layer and try to do that. So just, even though it takes every layer when you're doing that, you know, from your whole document, if you're ever wondering, maybe you're like, oh, I can't like make a pattern, it's not letting me define a pattern, you're probably, if you have an adjustment layer and you have that selected, that's why. So just a little tip from me to you. So now I've got those things defined. So let's just play with some brushes like pattern stamp tool. Let's look at the feather ones because those are my homeboys right now, or my homegirls, I don't know. So we'll just see like the difference between the original and then the one where I played with the adjustment layers, levels, whatever. And we'll see. I don't know which one I want to use, which collection. English Garden, Artistic Autumn, Couture. I guess I could just stick with the feathers. Okay. So I'm gonna go, but this one I should really get some kind of a, oh, you know what? I'm gonna go to the English Gardens first because this one is like specially designed for sort of a floral brush stroke. So let me grab brush number 2, and then I'm gonna go for the vivid color palette that I just created with the adjustment layers. Aye. And now this one has it has, uh, let me just lighten this up a little bit, this background. Okay. So this one, it's got a little bit of, in the brush, it's built in like the flow. So if you do it lighter, it's got a softer color. And then if you do it darker, you see those brush kind of strokes better. Let me see here. Let me find one that I love. Okay, here, this one I love. Brush number 9. So here's the more vivid, and it's looking good. So this is kind of a flowery brush, great for like invitations, floral sort of motifs. So this is the more brighter colors that we did, and then here's the original. See how it's, it has its own charm too, but it's definitely softer. You definitely can see the difference. Which this brush is anyway meant to kind of diffuse and mix those colors a lot anyway. So, um, it'll be different for every brush collection. And yeah, so then I like that palette. So I'm just gonna like one thing that I like to do is just to make my color palette. And so I'm going to use the bold ones. And then sometimes I just take that and I like go through some of my brushes and just make some brush strokes and see if I get some ideas. So this is something I do a lot. Here's the glitch core brushes. I have not oops, let's see our brushes. Okay, not trying to show everybody my all my Evernotes with my my things here. Okay, so this is like my glitch core brushes, which this isn't really like matching the style so much of the collection that or the what do you call it? The color palette that I just made, but I love like just running through all the collections, like making a color palette and then running through and then just seeing what kind of looks cool. You know what? Let me look at 34 and 29. Those are kind of cool. Sometimes I don't even worry. I just grab something randomly, but then sometimes I like to look at my cheat sheets. So you can get some really fun things, like like that is cool. I'm 100% loving this. Like look at that. That's a blasty blast. There's just so many things. That's why I just I love the multicolor brushes. I love, all the technology that just lets you kind of just drop in and just play. How fun is that? It has nothing really to do with the same motif as the original, but this is like this is what happens all the time uh in the world is that, these trends are born on the runway and then everybody kind of adapts them for art, for fashion, for home furnishings, for whatever. So sometimes I just love to, what was the one I love to just make that color palette and then just go, wow, what can I do with this? And half of the time, it's just, I like these brushes for like maybe making sort of a abstract sort of a background and then you could fill in the spaces. Oh, there's so many things that I want to do and like not enough time in my day. So, yeah, that's my that's my big problem. I'm working on it though. And I love to just see what other people are doing with the brushes like uh yeah. Oh, David, yes, David, I got your email. I don't think I had a chance to reply to it yet, but 100% like you can absolutely make some layer styles. And that's one thing that I needed to do too because but also like that's why I'm telling people, yeah, go forth and make, like because I love the actual act of playing with the brushes, but some people want ready-made assets. That's why I'm like, oh, use my stuff to make some assets, to make some whatever. Um, yeah, there's just too many things. Like that's also why I did because I created the brushes to make like the gems and stuff, but then I go, oh, you know what? How about I make just the textures or the layer styles so people can just automatically make these really cool really cool like the raw crystal sort of things and yeah. So definitely you should do that. Like because also I'm not ever having all the time and everything. So this brush I love. I love how it when it changes direction you get those like really cool wild things. So half of my ideas come from just doing this, to be honest. I just make my color palette and I go through my brushes. Oh, I love this one. They're so crazy. Glitch core I need to do more with. English Garden is pretty nice. That's nice. You can make and it definitely like goes along with the floral vibe. Um, I don't like that brush so much anymore. I like kind of with the English Garden like layering them a bit, layering those brush strokes like there. That's nice. One thing that I wanted to kind of show you guys, a little tip real quick. Um, I think I have a little time. Beto, thank you so much. I'm glad you like the effect. One of the things, because most people are like following me for brush stuff. So, one of the things that I was thinking about is I do specially design most of my brushes so that the colors blend together. So sometimes it also diminishes the intensity of the colors. And most of the time it's for the best because we want the colors to kind of blend together beautifully. So this is like English Garden brush number 9. But say, and everything is soft, but it also means that it blends the colors a little bit. And so some of the colors are not as intense. So I'm going to just show a little tip real quick. For anybody that might want something like this. So one of the things you want to do is say you want that to be like this brush stroke to be a little bit more bold. So what you could do is go into the brush settings panel, go to texture, and maybe play with, now this can depend on how the brush is set up, but you can play with the contrast, but sometimes the texture, that has to do with the texture, and it might not exactly be the right thing. So you could also play with the depth. Now, if I'm playing with the depth here, then I'm seeing a little bit more drawn. Okay, that's like very dramatic. Then the colors are coming out really strong. But this one has got, so I played around with the depth, and now the depth, it's like stronger as I paint the brush stroke. So then those colors can come out a little bit bolder. I still don't know if I 100% like this. So like what I would kind of want to do is put splashes of bold color on this as like a secondary brush. So probably what I would do is do what I just did, make the brush a little bit bolder, but then I would go and play with like the scattering, I think, in this brush. And you might have to just go around and it could be the brush tip shape, but if I play with the spacing here, it's not really the best. So I'm actually, what I think I'll do is play with the scattering and play like, take the count down a little bit. That's nice. So then I have just like less there. And maybe I'll go back to the brush tip shape and play with the spacing a little bit. And now we're kind of just getting some like dots of bolder color, as and also I do have the transfer on, and so the flow jitter is basically using my pen pressure to like control that flow. You can turn it off and kind of see how it goes. Now, this is quite interesting. So now I've just taken that same brush, but now if I do some brush strokes, I've got more spaced out, stamps of this flower, but they're a little bit more intense. So what I could do, you know what, let me just what am I doing here? I'm going to save this as a tool preset. And I'm just going to put this as the Adjusted English Garden brush. And why I don't save this right in my brush panel is these are my collections. So if I click save right here, I'm just going to put saved. Um, oh, it saves it right in the middle of my collection. So then I've got to drag that brush down. I got a million brushes. I cannot be cleaning out my brush panel all the time. That's why I save things for quick references tool presets, because I do not want to have to go through and re-tidy my brush panel all the time. I wish that it would automatically save it at the bottom, but it does not. So anyway, I'm just going to delete that and hang on one second. David, when you adjust a brush setting, is it permanent until you redo the settings or is it temporary? Okay, so David, whenever I adjust the brush settings, it's not going to affect that original brush. Like if I click back on the original brush will be the same. So it's just going to be affecting like the work in progress brush that's like you're currently using. So let me just go here. And yeah, so don't worry about that. And so hopefully that helps you understand a little bit. And then I save it as a tool preset because I don't want it to mess up my brush panel. So now I've got that sort of adjusted English garden, which it's just a little bit stronger, but some and more spaced out. So let me just undo that here. Let me make a new layer. So then I could like layer it on top of this and maybe add some like stronger kind of stronger sort of dots of color. So that's kind of a fun way to do it. But definitely play around with Yeah, like just when you open a brush, have go to like window brush settings and play around with those settings, and that way you just learn a lot. You can learn whatever. Oh, good, David. Glad that I got that sorted. So hopefully that will help. We're just all about the little tips and tricks and all that kind of stuff. So, but also, oh my gosh, I really wish that the that Photoshop would save the brush by default at the bottom, because when it saves it right where you're working, it's like to go find that or whatever is obnoxious. So that's why I use those tool presets like all the flippin' time. Okay, let's look at, you know what? Where's where's my modern impressionist? Okay, this is kind of fun. The modern impressionists are the classics. This is my first impressionist brush collection, but like even though this is a floral motif, this doesn't mean like you can't grab some different brush collections. You can make a background of that, and I didn't have to pick out any of those colors. It's so easy. You could, do all kinds of stuff. I'm not going to worry about making anything like anything perfect right now. It's just more having fun and capturing the vibe. Although, or, even though the colors and this whole motif is floral, sometimes, um, it's about changing it into something different, just using the color as a jumping off point to get some, just the color as a jumping off point, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a floral design. You could make something totally different, so ooh, this is pretty. This is like, I'm gonna zoom in here so we can see the prettiness of the brushes as we go. Um, disappearing styles and patterns when you least expect it. Oh my gosh, David, I'm feeling you. Yeah, when they my presets have been pretty stable lately, so I'm thanking goodness for that. But one of the things that I do not love is if I click is these moving windows. When you click, like, do you see how this moves from side to side? Most of these are the same size, so it's like not so bad. But this situation moves all the time, and it's like a known sort of bug or something in Adobe, in Photoshop, and it's driving me batty. I love this is a good classic brush. Oh my gosh. Like with the very, very impressionist. Okay, I'm not gonna be too boring here, but honestly, sometimes this is just the vibe, and it's so funny. Like I'll have people go to me and go, I just love to just grab a brush and just start painting, or just take a new color palette and just start grabbing some brushes and see what happens. And it's funny because so much that's what I do as well. What else do we got? Oh, this if we're trying to capture the floral vibe, then the floral tool collection is real pretty. This could like be really, really gorgeous because it's got a floral vibe, it's got tool, it's all kind of combined. That's floral tool 1. That's floral tool 2. This is just a very soft one. So yeah, I just honestly, there's nothing I love more than just to grab a color palette. Oh, this one is nice. That really captures that sort of floral vibe in there. I like that a lot. That is floral tool 6. And this one's nice because it's got the flowers, but it's also, and it's got the tool, but it has a watercolor feel. And it has the watercolor feel, uh, I think because, oh, my dual brush is color burn. So that makes a difference in kind of giving a brush that watercolory feel if we're using the color blending impressionist ones. That's quite good. So we are just gonna check these out really quick. And yeah. Oh, you have to let me know, David. How is everything out in I think you're in Arizona, New Mexico, something like that. If it's quite hot, quite hot there. Ooh, this is fun. The tie-dyes and stuff. So yeah, every time I make a new palette, let's see here, let's see my outlet. I'm just always flipping through and seeing what I can make. The tie-dye brushes are bae. I love them. The feather brushes are gorge. Look at these. I'm in love. I'm tooting my own horn here. We're just gonna go through these just a little bit and then I'll get on to another look. So anyway, and if anybody has to go, don't worry. I think since as long as I'm in the vibe, I'm gonna just kind of keep going for a little while. Um, this brush is gorge, number 6 feather. The brush strokes are like so pretty and have so much texture. I love that. Let's see here. 14 is this one has a see how this has a watercolor effect? That's gorgeous. Let's look here. Okay, the dual brush setting is hard mix. So if you're using hard mix or linear burn, a lot of times you're going to get this like harsher sort of watercolory thing when you're using the dual brush. So feel free to like, dig into the brushes and have a little fun with that. Even that's quite cool. Oh, New Mexico, you're on New Mexico. It's very, very hot. Dogs lift up his paw. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. When I take my roommate's dog out, we don't do walks in the middle of the day. We go out in the morning. Lately I haven't even been able to get that much get up early enough. Even if it's already too warm, if it's like 8:30 or 9, it could already be too hot. He will not go for a walk. We just pretty much uh walk at night. And then thankfully there's a dog park across the street, so we'll go to the dog park for a break in the afternoon. And I love to like lay there under the trees and just enjoy it. It's great. It's like my favorite thing. Oh, I do not love that. Sometimes they can blend the colors really ugly, and that's not so nice. So it just depends. But anyway, we've played along with that a lot. So good enough, but that's the color palette. I will make sure that I attach that for my members. And let's hear. I don't know if I'm gonna have so much time to do something right now, but let's look through the looks. And I'm gonna just give some ideas of like if you're what kind of brushes or layer styles I would use if I was gonna like take some inspiration from this. So, oh, what is this going on? Dear Lord, that was dramatic. I'm just trying to like zoom in a little bit. I don't know why it's it's too weird. I can't with that. Okay. I don't know what my Lightroom is doing, but that's out of control. Okay. All right, so this one is, let's see, whose look is this? Rahul Mishra. I thought this was really pretty. I actually just saw this on my Instagram feed. Um, okay, hopefully, oh, see, I'm just making sure that okay, my feed's still going. Okay. This one I would probably like, if I was kind of recreating the motif of those flowers, I think I would use my Creative Couture layer styles. Um, and then kind of this is a very embroidered look, so I'd probably like want to recreate the and then even with this like shimmery nude background, I'd probably even use one of my lighter uh, textile creative couture layer styles. So I would play a lot with layer styles with this look or recreating this. Maybe we'll get into this. This one, you know what? I'm just gonna open these in Photoshop. Hold on. I think I can zoom in just a little bit better. Okay, well let's see here. See, the panels are driving me crazy with Photoshop. I just can't with it right now. Okay, this look, I have got to play with something on this because this one was so pretty, so encrusted, so ornate. I think what I could do is mainly use like a layer style but I might have to have like one or two layer styles on top of each other and then maybe I could use my actually kind of use like a simple brush. I could use my Spring Botanicals. I've got these sort of, let me just make it like these simple brushes that are like leaf sort of brushes. Okay, I don't want it to be multicolor. Oh, they have no, these have a jitter on them. Like some of these kind of brushes for that and just do like a bunch. So I think that that could be really cool. This could be a look that I could get into in the future. So I think, this week I might do some of these and kind of, play around with um, how I would, uh, translate them. I'm always looking for shortcuts. This one on the top, maybe I would use, this one's got a lot of spark, like gold stripes. I would probably use a layer style, like Instagram, sorry, or Creative Couture. This one I was just playing with. I would definitely, I created the color palette from this, but then also this has got these stripy colors here. I might just make a quick color palette from that just to show you. What else we got? This one is fun. I would probably make a multicolored color palette inspired by just this bit, and then maybe use some modern impressionist or even wet brushes to kind of play with that black sort of thing to kind of emulate that. It's always I like I like looking at these looks as a challenge and thinking how I could like emulate that quite easily. This one, oh my goodness. Well, this one is tricky. Um, yeah, this would just mainly be, creating a design and then having it like be a gradient. So I'd probably use like this is iridescent. I would use an iridescent gradient and maybe just kind of some little stringy brush strokes and stuff. This one was wild. Here we're getting this one I could definitely do. Zahir Murad. This one I think has a lot of potential for me to create some inspiration from this. I would definitely use my wet paint studio to kind of create these gorgeous creamy brush strokes that would be inspired by that tool, or not tool, I'm sorry, like silk. It's a silk. And then maybe find some public domain, because I don't want to, I never like to draw and stuff. So what I would do here is he was playing with the constellations, zodiacs, all this stuff, esoteric elements, which I have been talking about for ages. That's very on trend right now. Everything is like, manifesting, uh, what is it? People are really into that now. The horoscopes, all of these kind of things. So one thing that I was thinking about doing for this like kind of this little stuff, I would definitely use like Creative Couture layer styles, which I've already made, which is like that's got a lot of sparkle sequin sort of influence, and it's just a great way to add that effect very instantly. And even if you didn't want to like draw your own sort of designs like this, I would go and try to find some public domain sort of esoteric things, like little illustrations, and use that. So I'm always trying to think of the easy way to do things. Here we've got some feather influence, so I would definitely use my feather brushes and sample from here if I was recreating this vibe. This one is quite cool. Um, I would use like on most of these, I would use my Creative Couture layer styles and just maybe create. I would maybe I'll make like a stamp brush for these kind of shapes and kind of show you what to do. But this one's quite cool. It's really fun. I've done something simple like that. I love the radial thing. Here we've got the evil eye. We've got this constellation. So this is a major trend right now. I should probably make some brushes or something for that. This is the same designer. You can feel the constellation. It's got like the zodiac thing. I would definitely use layer styles to kind of emulate this. Same thing here. We've got the evil eye. In case you missed it, I just did an evil eye illustration, but it would be a little bit different than this. I would use some Creative Couture layer styles, and I would also use my Galaxy Photoshop brushes and kind of sample from inside here. I think that's really cool. Um, here I would use like wet paint Photoshop brushes and kind of playing around with that beautiful striking sort of thing here to kind of emulate that silk. This would be really fun. This would be really quite, I think, easy to create a snake sort of illustration. Again, I would use layer styles to do this. This is Dolce & Gabbana. Oh, no, this is the same designer. Sorry, Zihad Murad. This is like a tarot deck inspired dress. We've got a lot of encrusted things. So again, layer styles. This one is Hermes. It's kind of encrusted. I don't know if I can create something really just super fun and fast based on this. This, Fendi, I think it's Fendi collection, wasn't just 100% vibing. This one, I love. I would use, I've got some patterns and I would create like maybe work within the pattern and then use like the gold brushes to paint inside there. I think that would be really cool. Let's see. This I think I could have some fun with, maybe creating a brush that's the same shape as that motif, kind of playing with that. This I think is really fun because you've got a little like leopard feeling, but you've got some layers here. Let's see who this is. I want to say that's Ellie Saab. Yeah, Ellie Saab. Okay, if you guys have any, I'm going to go through these things, but if there's one of these looks that you think that you would like me to see kind of play with, let me know in the chat. I might do like one more or something, but this is kind of like just going over the different looks and, giving you guys some ideas. So here I would play with like the feather brushes. I love this ombre. I think this could be really fun. This would definitely be like a layer style. Same thing, feather brushes, layer style. I love this swirling. I believe this is Ellie Saab here too. Definite layer styles. Yeah, same kind of thing. And it doesn't have to be like exact. Maybe if I was doing something like this, like inspired by this, I would use some layer styles, but then maybe layer it with some like black paint strokes, like a dimensional, like a wet paint stroke. Just kind of, have some fun with it. Let's see who this is. This is Ellie Saab. Again, gorgeous. Let's go through these. I'll just go through these really fast. I think this could be done with like a really cool, playing with one of my brushes. Okay, do not know why it's going rogue there. But yeah, I would play with feather brushes, some layer styles to create like, I would put like, use one of my tool brushes, kind of play with that. This is gorgeous. We got like a little snakeskin motif. I think I can do something with this. Okay, I'm gonna pick one real quick and then just like, these ones are crazy. Oh, these ones are Schiaparelli, which they always, I think it's Schiaparelli. Yeah, with some sort of kind of like a, oh God, what is that? Like a hard material, like a resin or something. This one, very fun. Here I could definitely play with, I could sample from this and do some feather brush strokes. That would be an easy way to kind of like emulate that vibe. Here we've got some pearls, which I had done like a thing about using the stamp brush to make some pearls. That was on a previous one. Could go back and look at this. Okay. Oh, that's cute. That's like very tool couture. So let's just do it. Like, I'm gonna just do some fast ones through here, because I don't want to like be too boring. And then maybe pop back on later something with some things fleshed out. But let's just try to like emulate some looks real quick with a brush stroke. So let's not get too boring here. This might be kind of fun. Okay, let's just do something fast. Let's see what we can do really fast. So like, let's pull this one over here. Let's get an empty document. Okay. Here's something kind of fun. We could just play with this. So we've got these, this looks like, I don't know if this is black or navy blue. Let's just, it's more of a navy blue. So we could just emulate this by sampling from this sort of, this area. And let's just make a striped background real fast. Like, it won't be hard at all. So, hang on a second. So let's go here. And I think I will just sample these colors. So we're just gonna make it super easy on ourselves. And I'm not gonna even sample from the dark area. So I'm just using my square selection tool, gonna go like this. And I'm going to copy that. I won't cut it. And then let's go over to my fashion palette here. Let's make another one. So I'm gonna push paste. And for this, I think this is cool. I'm gonna duplicate this. I'm not gonna worry too much. All right. So we're getting the vibe here. Let's put my curves layer on. I'm going to double click it. I'm going to reset it because this is a different thing. So we want to reset the curves. And let's just click auto. All right. Didn't do too much, but it's all right. And now let's just go to hue saturation. Double click on that and maybe take the saturation up to 10. All right. So this is good enough. So now this, I'm happy with this sampled area. And let us, I'll hit Command M and I'm gonna just click enter. So now I've created my palette based on that. So let's zoom out. And I'm totally like just making this up as I go. I have no like previous, I don't have anything. This is just as I go. A stream of consciousness here. Hold on one second. Let me, gonna open up a template here. Ah, on the wrong side. Okay. So, because we are just getting some inspo. Okay. We want this bigger. So we got our little muse here, our creative muse. I'm going to turn on that color fill layer, and then I'm just going to select somewhere in here. So this is kind of a blue. It's like a, it's pretty dark navy. So, okay, I'll click somewhere in here. Get like a dark navy blue background. So then I'm going to click a new layer. And, what do we want to use? Let me grab my pattern stamp tool. Let's use the thing that I just selected. And how could we get this sort of stripy essence? Okay. Maybe I'll layer a couple things. So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm not going to worry about, I'm not going to worry about this being perfect. Let me just take my rectangular marquee tool and draw a stripe here. Oh my God, Kate, no, seriously, when I am like, I'm gonna be just as surprised as you guys of how this turns out. It's funny because if I'm making it up as I go when I'm working by myself, gorgeous, lovely. If I make it up as I go while I'm doing a stream, it's probably gonna look like dog crap, but I'm okay. Trying to have like less not go from the ego space, so whatever. um let's see what we can do here. Maybe even I'll do like use one of my patterns, could be kind of cool. You know what? Let me just do a pattern fill. Layer, new fill layer pattern. Okay, so I keep some of these patterns on hand so that I can have a pattern because this is almost like a pattern here. So I just keep some kind of basic patterns. Um, so let me see what I've got on hand here. Oh, excuse me, I've got like some leopard ones here kind of ready to go. Like here's like a leopard that's kind of interesting. I want something that's like really kind of a tight pattern. This is a kind of a tight leopard pattern. Okay, so you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put the pattern down to like 50. Okay, no, less than that maybe. Let's maybe make it 25. 25. Okay. So, yeah. So what am I going to do here? So this layer is fine. Let me, okay, I want it to be a stripe. So I'm going to make my stripe selection again. Okay, let's delete this layer mask. And then I'm going to click on this. So now only that pattern is showing and it's a stripe. Okay, so I'm happy with that. Now let's do a new layer above that and create a clipping mask layer. So now if I take my pattern stamp tool, I've got this thing that I've just select the colors that I've just selected, and then maybe I'm gonna grab like, oh, maybe I'll grab an English garden, but yeah, okay. Okay, it kind of looks like child's play, honestly. It's not that great, but it's actually kind of the vibe. I would probably make something like a little bit better. I could double click on this pattern layer, maybe take it down a little bit, 15. Okay, so but we're getting all that colors in there. So, okay, I'm not going to say that I'm really excited about that, but this is just experiment. So, whatever. We're just gonna go with it. I'm gonna probably like wrap it up here. Let's maybe just do brush strokes because this is not the best laid plan. Um, oh my God, totally dead. But yeah, it's sometimes when I'm yeah, I don't know if I love that. Let's hear. Let's try in my other thing. Let's just do a rectangular marquee and grab a brush. Maybe I will grab a tie-dye brush. What am I doing? Oh no, I gotta grab my multicolor. Sorry, I grabbed my regular brush tool, not my pattern stamp tool. This is like a lesson for everybody. This is better a little bit. You know, you can just kind of, this is a little bit better. So I'm just like layering some kind of strokes on top of here, but we've got those colors from here. Kind of just playing. Okay, that one's not good. I'm just gonna keep filling it in until I'm happy. Let's see, modern impressionist, glitchcore. Could just like layer all kinds of stuff on here, honestly. This is okay. Yeah, who knows? But whatever. You get the idea. It can just play around. It doesn't have to look exactly like that one, but it's just the idea. So we've got all those colors that are on those stripes. So I'm just always trying to think of like, how can I, although this one would be better if I use like a rougher, not like like, you know what? I'll just show you what I mean here. Hold on. So I'm going to take, just to make my outline, I'm just going to try something really different really quick. So I'm going to grab my, where's my golden jewels brush? So I'm going to grab like draw number 2. I'm going to put this like in white so I can actually see it. Now I've got that rough edges like you see here. So I'm just creating a shape. All right, so that's gonna like emulate that idea better because it's got those like rough edges. So now I can use this as a selection. So I'll make a new layer above that. I'm gonna click on that layer, command, and click command or control, I think, on a PC. And then I use that layer as a selection. And then I'll just grab some random brush. Let's see here. Let me go look at my brushes here. What do we got going on? Maybe like artistic 10. Oh, let's hear. Artistic autumn could have some. Oh, you know what? Artistic brush number 43. Okay. I have a thought here. So let's go to artistic autumn if we can find it. Sometimes I wish that these like would self close because when you have everything open, it can be hard to like find things. So there's artistic autumn brush number 23. So you can kind of play around with this. You could like layer some things. And you kind of get the idea. Not the most gorge, to be honest, but I'm going to just say, okay, whatever. I'm not going to worry that everything's perfect. And then we kind of got those stripes, something like that. And then you could just do that. But it's all about, you know, whatever, taking it easy. I love just like getting the idea of it, but yeah, I'm like, okay, least amount of work possible um is the best. And then what I might do is if I was going to continue these stripes and want them to all look different, I would go to like, actually I'll just hit Command T and then I'm going to like flip it so the thing is not perfectly the same or whatever. So it doesn't look exactly the outline looks exactly the same, and then I'll make a new layer, hit Command, go on my white layer, Command, what is it? Click on that, and then grab another brush, and then throw some things in there. That one I'm not loving at all. Good grief. Okay, whatever. So we get the idea. It's not going to be perfect, but we can make some stripes. And that's kind of couture inspired, and it's and we didn't have to like sample all those things. And let's hear what else. Let's hear Kate. It's a good example of how the darker parts of the sample kind of muddy the colors of the brush. Yes, exactly. So if we wanted to be real fancy or something, or we were making a color from scratch and you didn't want the darker parts because the darker parts would muddy that, like what you could actually like take those out of there. If this was for something really perfect, fashion palettes, okay, what I would do is I would take my magic wand tool. Let's here. I would select both of those. Let's for okay, I would merge these two layers, and then I would probably take my magic wand tool, if I could freaking get it to work, point sample, tolerance 32, and let me close out everything underneath here, and then hit cut. That's pretty better. Let's see here. It's crazy though, because I'm like, that's like a little bit better. And so what I would do, so I cut out that blue from it. So now I just have the colors of the embroidery. What I would probably do is, so I'd have to turn off the background layer because you need this to be empty. Okay, let's just try this really quick. So I'm gonna hit Command M. Okay, so then I'll click OK. But now what I would do is, if I tried to use that directly, I think it would have some empty spots or something. So you want to fill the whole thing. So what I would do is I would take my pattern stamp tool, take that thing that I just selected with the empty, with the transparency, the color palette, and then I would go to my palettes, like one of my palette makers, yeah, like, and I would grab one of these brushes, and honestly, you can grab any brush, but just, I would take the size down, and then I would just fill up the window. I don't care that there's something behind it, so I just fill up the window with like this. You can still see that there's dark, so I could still do more, whatever. But now we're gonna have like less dark. And so, I mean, this is like when I'm making those color palettes for the collection, I do kind of like this. I edit, I fix, I da. So, all of those were already like, this kind of work is already done. We have less of that dark in there. So then, and then now I've got a thing of the full color. So now I could hit Command M, and then I'll just type edited. But that's like a really good point. I'm glad you brought that up, Kate. Template. So then, yeah, so let's see if it's like slightly less muddied. So let's grab that one that we just selected and grab like an artist. Well, they get muddied anyway, but we have less of that dark in there. Let's grab what's something bold? Maybe the glitch core. There you have, ooh, that's quite funky. I like that actually. So we've got a lot less dark, but so you would have like a little bit less muddying of the colors. Ooh, that's pretty. I like that. Glitch core you could have some fun with, I think. And it doesn't, like, one good thing about glitch core is it doesn't muddy the colors as much. The strokes are pretty quite strong, so you could do all kinds of fun things. But I like that. I like this one. Oh, pretty. Sometimes, let's see here, what else we got. Yeah, so that's nice. Can make some cool funky backgrounds, but once again, we're selecting we're taking the easy route. We're selecting colors from there, and we don't have to like come up with it ourselves. Hey, Eigen, glad to see you again. So let's see here, what time is it? All right, so it's 3:22. So yeah, I think I will kind of chill out there and we got through some things and hopefully, um, what else was I gonna say? Oh, in case, the other one was the first stream was really bad quality, so I'm gonna repost it. I streamed on YouTube, so I should be able to download that and repost it. So in case because I actually had like some good tips and tricks on that one, so definitely check that out. I'll post it on my YouTube, um, and then I'll also like embed it into the stream or something on here on Behance. But I'm super glad for to see you guys that got to join in and get back on the streaming mode and everything. So I've got to do this more often. It's really nice to like be able to take some questions and everything. And make sure you're signed up for my newsletter. I have the link down below. Although most of the people probably that are on here were from the newsletter. And thank you guys so much. I'm gonna bounce and get things done. I got lots to do and just put together some more tutorials for this week, some more couture inspiration. And don't feel free to write a comment or if you have any questions or have a suggestion, you need something, um, you want me to demonstrate something this week, please let me know. And yeah. Oh, thanks, David. Thanks for being here. I'm like, sometimes when I haven't done one in a long time, I get like really self-conscious at the beginning, and I don't know, it's silly. Okay, thank you so much. I'm so glad you got to pop in and everything. Okay, well, I will see you guys later. Gonna log off and get to work with more fun things.